This week's Parsha begins with the mitzvah to bring Bikurim to the Beit Mikdash, the first fruits. And it's surprising that this mitzvah is mentioned here because the mitzvah has been mentioned earlier in the Torah a number of times. And it's also interesting and noteworthy that Moshe completes his discussion of the mitzvot, his presentation of the mitzvot, with this mitzvah and the mitzvah of Vidui Ma'asra. And I think what's unique about the mitzvah of Mikra Bikurim in this week's Parsha is that the Jews are commanded here not just to bring the Bikurim, but to make a speech about them. And interestingly, most mitzvot do not have a d'oraisa text that we're supposed to say when fulfilling the mitzvah. But Bikurim is unique in that way. And that's why the text is so important, not just for the mitzvah of Bikurim, but for example, we use this as the proof text for the discussion of the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim on the Seder night. What is it in this text that's so important? And of course, this discussion is way longer than a short 5-minute piece, but I'd like to point to the very beginning of the speech. It says, V'anita ve'amarta lefnei Hashem Elokecha Arami Oved Avi. The translation here is what's critical. Arami Oved Avi. We begin with this 3-word alliteration with Aleph, describing something about our father and Arami. We're all familiar with the Pshat that we say on the Seder night. We interpret Arami Oved Avi as Lavan Ha'arami, who sought to destroy the entire Jewish people. There are a number of problems with this interpretation. The first is, it says Oved. He destroyed my father. Not that he sought to destroy my father. It says Arami Oved Avi. So Rashi, famously quoting Chazal, says that even though he didn't succeed, we consider his attempt as if he succeeded. And of course, this is surprising because generally we don't count a negative attempt as if it succeeded. That would be by positive things. But what's also difficult is that if it meant to destroy, it should have said Arami Ibeid Avi, or in the present Me'abeid Avi. But Oved sounds like something that's lost, as we say in Sefer Tehillim, right? Kiseh Oved. So how could it mean destroyed? This is why the Rashbam and others suggest an alternative interpretation to these 3 words, and particularly to who we're referring to as Arami. The Rashbam says, Avraham Arami, Haya Oved V'goleh Me'eretz Aram. It's referring to Avraham. Avram was a person who began his life in Aram Naharaim, and he had to go wander to other places. Kidechtiv Lech Lecha Me'artzecha. Avram himself spoke about this as a basic part of his life. Vayhi kasher hituo ti Elokim mi Beit Avi. Lashon Oved v'toeh echad heim. The Rashbam explains the word Oved and toeh is similar. It means to wander around. And the truth is, both of these interpretations have their basis in the continuation of the passage, because Arami Oved Avi highlights those attempting to destroy us. Lavan, Paro, and the story of Yetziat Mitzrayim is God's defense of us. And that's what we highlight on the Seder night with that interpretation. Ve'akadosh Baruch Hu matzilenu miyadam. But the recitation continues after Yetziat Mitzrayim and speaks about how Hashem brought us to the land of Israel and gave us our inheritance. And that focuses on the other interpretation. Avraham, our ancestor, was a wanderer, but now we've been brought here and given our home. So Avraham is truly this unique figure. The first Jew. His father wasn't Jewish, his brothers weren't Jewish, he had no heritage of Judaism, and he had to face things singularly. He had to have a very strong identity. And I think this is why Yechezkel talks about Avraham as Echad Haya Avraham. He was alone, he was the founder, he was the one. Or in Shir HaShirim, it says, Achati Yonati Tamati, and the Midrash tells us, this Achati Yonati Tamati, Ze Avraham, as the Pasuk continues, Achati Li'ima, Barihi Li'oladita, etc. What do we mean here when we talk about the singularity of Avraham Avinu? So Rav Nachman Breslov, in his introduction to his Sefer, has very powerful words about this. And he says, Echad Haya Avraham, She'Avraham Avad Hashem Rak Al Yedei Shaya Achad. Avram serves Hashem as an individual. Shechashav b'da'ato shehu rak yechidi ba'olam. He thought about himself only as himself. V'lo histakel klal al bnei olam. He didn't look at anyone else to determine his path. Those who were sarim me'achrei Hashem u'monim oto, others who were on deviant paths or trying to stop him. V'lo al aviv v'shara amonim rak ke'ilu hu echad ba'olam. He looked only at himself. V'zeu echad haya Avraham. Avram's ability to forge a new path was rooted in his ability to stand alone, without needing the approval of other people. Rav Nachman continues and says, V'chein, kol harotzeh likanes ba'avodat Hashem. Anyone who wants to begin their path as a servant of God, even in a world where there are many others. I'efshar lo likanes ki im al yedei bechina zo. The entry can only be this way. She'achshov she'ein ba'olam ki im hu levado yechidi ba'olam. He should think as if he's the only one, v'lo yistakel al shum adam hamon o, and not to look at anyone trying to stop him, kigon aviv v'imo chotno v'yishto v'anav v'chayotzei, or the miniot, or the people mocking him. V'tzarich shelo yachush v'yistakel alehem klal, rak yeh b'vchinat echad haya Avraham ki'ilu hu yichid ba'olam. Rav Nachman talks about the ability to stand as an individual even when others are not supportive. But I think one can elaborate on this further. Even if others are supportive, ultimately, a person has to take themselves seriously enough. View themselves as the only one who really matters, not in a selfish way, but with a sense of responsibility to build oneself properly and to make sure to maximize one's potential and one's life. Echad haya Avraham. Avraham was someone able to take full advantage of who he was because he felt responsible as an individual and didn't need anyone else to fulfill that. We have, Baruch Hashem, many other people. And wonderful relationships can strengthen us, but only when we stand as individuals confident and forging our own paths. May we succeed at doing this and realizing the destiny of Avraham, of Arami, Oved Avi, of the wanderer who founded our people. May we have the strength of wandering even as we settle in our land. Shabbat Shalom.